good morning, good day, good evening. Welcome back to Tech for Tea. I am, as always, your host, Brody Robertson, and I have about 3 minutes of leeway until I have to get ready for work after the podcast is finished recording. So, this is a good week. Every week seems to be like a mess right now. Like, I designed my week around starting at my regular time. It's not like I'm lacking time. That's the thing. I could have just done the podcast tomorrow, but I like to keep my week in a certain structure. So when anything around my structure changes, everything basically falls apart. It's a me problem. I should probably deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. It's slowly gotten better over time, but yeah, maybe the podcast will go shorter today. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I've got plenty of topics on here to talk about anyway, so we'll see what ends up actually happening. As always, we're going to start with the really big topic that happened, and the really big topic for this week is in the title. I guess it's last week. Whenever you guys are seeing this, Elon Musk actually fucking did it. So, if you don't know, if you missed all the news, a couple of weeks back, Elon Musk bought 9% of Twitter. Everybody was like, wow, that's so crazy. Was it 9% or 11%? Sorry, am I getting the number wrong? Yes, he bought 9% of Twitter back in the start of April. Everyone was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe he's going to join the board of directors. Turns out, wasn't going to join the board of directors. And everyone was like, okay, sure, whatever. I don't know why you bought 9% of Twitter. We'll see what you end up doing going forward. Ended up getting in trouble because he didn't announce how much he bought quick enough, because apparently when you buy that much of a company, you have to declare that you did that, because when you declare it, it's going to affect the value of the stock itself, and because he didn't declare it, that meant he could buy more of it. But either way, that's not the main news. The main news is he bought the rest of it. So, Elon Musk, it was theorized that he could buy the rest of Twitter for $44 billion. And he bought the rest of Twitter for $44 billion. Now, as of the recording of this, he hasn't actually, 100% settled the deal. It's still, going through the processing and all that fun stuff. Dealing with $44 billion is going to take a bit of time to deal with all the paperwork and the changeover and stuff like that. So he's still not in, complete control of the company, but that's what's going to happen. And Elon is a really interesting figure. So a lot of people have a very strong opinion on him. There are plenty of reasons to like Elon, plenty of reasons to hate him. My throat is going to be really annoying inside this entire episode. I'm going to try to not be as annoying on the microphone. But you can hate Elon for plenty of reasons, whether it's the fact that he makes massive promises and almost every time underdelivers, whether it's the amount of Teslas that's going to be made, the capabilities of a certain product, and things like that. But you also have the other side where people seem to just hate him for basically no reason. It's like, Elon rich, therefore Elon bad, because apparently every billionaire is the exact same person. I don't like, most billionaires as much as the next person, but I'm at least willing to judge people based on the individual actions they're going to take. And Elon has been, for quite a while now, I don't know when he started going on his, if you've been to his Twitter, you'll see that his Twitter is a lot of politics, a lot of crypto, and I don't remember when this started, but he's said for a while that he is fairly committed to a free speech absolutist position. I'm not here to debate whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's just what he's stated. The question is, when he actually takes over, what is going to happen? What sort of stance is he actually going to take? Because there are a lot of people who are sort of very pessimistic about it, saying, oh, he's just bought it so he can resell it later, which I think is a fair stance, because he has been caught on multiple occasions openly manipulating the stock market and the crypto market, whether it's, tweeting that he's buying Doge or that he sold Bitcoin or that Tesla's too valuable or it's not valuable enough. Like, he's openly manipulated the markets many times. So I think that's a fair argument to make. But assuming that he does sort of keep ownership of the company, I've seen some people making a really dumb take about it, saying that even though he owns the entire company, it doesn't mean that anything is going to change, or it doesn't mean that he has the power to change anything. Now, the first point I think is fair. It doesn't mean that anything is going to change, because like with any sort of acquisition, it can be meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Like, he could just keep Twitter running in the same way that it's been running all of these years, banning people for this reason, for that reason, changing the rules for whatever reason they want, deciding on when rules need to be applied. And yeah, Twitter could just keep being what it's going to be. But I don't see why he would make all of these statements about free speech and then not try to apply those to the platform itself. Maybe he won't. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I can't look into the future. Maybe he's just deleted, by the time you see this, maybe he's deleted the entire TOS and it's just complete anarchy. That could be entirely possible, but I think I'm going to save any sort of judgment on whether the acquisition is a good thing until he's actually done anything. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is bad, that's bad, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that, but like, he hasn't done anything yet. Like, it's been a day. It's been a day or two by the time I'm recording this. It's been a week or so by the time that you guys are seeing this. He has not had time to, fire everybody and then rebuild the entire company. I've seen some articles saying that Elon isn't planning to fire anyone. But I don't know. I don't know, because if he does have this stance where he wants to take Twitter in a very different direction, keeping the same middle management there isn't going to achieve that. You've got to get rid of those people and then put in the sort of people that you want to be in there. I'm sure those people exist. Right now, they're running other platforms. Some of them probably should stay on those other platforms, but some, like, there are people that he could find that could take over those middle management positions and bring Twitter into the sort of position that he wants it to be in. But obviously, there have been a lot of articles floating around about certain people who've been banned over the years, like, Alex Jones. I haven't seen any Milo, surprisingly. I guess no one cares about, like, literally at all about Milo at this point. But obviously, there are the articles be like, Trump's not, he says he's not going to come back to Twitter. I will fucking believe that when I see it. Like, sure, he's going to start his own social media platform, but, nobody uses Truth Social and nobody's ever going to use it. You can say whatever you want about whether you like Trump or not, but I think everybody can agree that he likes to be the center of attention. And where better can he be the center of attention than coming back to the platform that he was banned from? I think that as much as some of these outlets don't want it, say they don't want him to come back, I know they all definitely do, because they were getting lots of clicks, they were getting lots of ad impressions, they're making lots of money, and I'm sure that they can have this, like, position of, we're angry about this, but the higher ups of the company definitely know that it's in their best interest to have people that generate clicks and have people that generate hate in the spotlight, in the center of attention. And him deciding to come back, even if it's just to come back to, like, advertise his new platform, which, if you don't know, is based on Mastodon, because everybody who builds a new social media platform just builds it on Mastodon, and half of them just don't say that it's built on Mastodon. I remember doing a video back when it was first announced, when they were using the Mastodon source code. I'll see if I can find the video. Brody Robertson Truth Social, where they were using the code base, but didn't announce the fact that they were doing so. And I believe it was the Mastodon. Is it a CEO? I don't know the exact business structure of the organization that manages Mastodon, but like the guy who runs Mastodon was threatening to sue Truth Social and sue Trump because they weren't following the terms of the open source license. Now, they probably had their other reasons because they didn't particularly like him in the first place, but I think we can all agree that if something is going to be open source and we're going to have these licenses, these terms need to be applied in a fair way, in a way that, you know, follows the terms of those licenses. I'm looking at the actual video itself right now, and I just noticed how bad my lighting was. Wow, that's horrible. Look at this. It's also the I've got the camera in front of me, so it will be here rather than here. So like my bed is parallel? Yes, parallel to my back, which looks terrible. And the camera is also like really high. I don't know why. Like I've got all this gap here. I like to have that gap to be like as minimal as possible. I could put the camera back up there like that, but like yeah, that actually wasn't even far enough. It didn't make any effect. But whatever. I'm not focusing on how terrible my videos were back then. I guarantee when I get to the new place, they're going to look much better because I've got plans to change stuff. Yeah. But anyway, where was I going? Right. Social media, Twitter. He's going to be back. I guarantee he'll be back. If Alex Jones gets unbanned, he'll be back as well. Everybody who gets unbanned, they can say as much as they want that, oh, Twitter's boring. They know they're all going to be back. They know they're going to be back. It's in their best interest. It's in the news outlet's best interest. It's in everybody's best interest for you to be on Twitter. And Elon knows this. Elon's very aware of this. I am curious what he's going to, like, if he's going to do it. He hasn't said whether he is or whether he isn't. My drink's closed. But what he has said, one of the things he has said has gotten some people kind of annoyed. So I'll see if I can find it. I probably won't find the exact tweet. Elon Musk Twitter bots. Maybe if I look up that, I'll find it. Nobody is talking about the like actual things he says he's going to do. Everyone's just angry because angry. Here we go. So here's the stance he's going to take on the platform. This isn't the thing I was going to mention, but here's his stance. By free speech, I simply mean that which matches the law. This is going by US law. I am against censorship that goes far beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they'll ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. I think that's a fair statement. I probably won't be able to find it because Elon, for how busy Elon is on... I already tweeted that. I forgot he tweeted that one. For how busy Elon is very, very frequently on Twitter. Let's see. Can I find it? There's a picture of a dog. No, I think I've gone back too far. Can I find it? Here it is. So this was before he actually bought it. So if our Twitter bid succeeds, we will defeat the spam bots or die trying and authenticate real humans. And this is the tweet that got a lot of people really annoyed. Because what that basically means is having like ID checks, having some sort of user verification system. It's probably the easiest thing would be an ID check, just like a know your customer system, like you would see on a crypto platform, but probably to a less extreme extent, because Twitter already has, you know, the basic capture stuff. But what I would like to see, and I know a lot of other people have mentioned this as well, is sort of completely redoing the way the blue check mark, the way the current verification system operates. Whereas right now the verification system is basically like it's an indication that you're part of the Twitter elite. It's an indication that you are some really famous person. It's not an indication that you are actually a real user using the platform. So getting rid of that old system and basically making it so most people on the platform have a blue check mark. You validate that you are actually this person. Maybe you give your driver's license or something like that, or you do like a temporary temporary dollar holding from your bank account through a credit card. That's a fairly common way to verify a user. And then everyone who does that will be given a check mark. Now, there are some legitimate concerns with this. For example, data privacy, where it's not uncommon for big tech platforms to have data leaks. And it's not uncommon for big tech platforms to have data leaks, and then we find out the data they were storing were not stored in safe ways. For example, storing entire credit cards, things of that nature, which is more common than you might expect. Like, way, way more common than you might expect. There are other concerns this has, like the whole Twitter problem, where Facebook problem. So Facebook, you can get around it, but Facebook, the idea now is you have to be a real person, and that also comes with a problem that it's linked to you as a real person. It's your real name, it's your real face, and that's a problem, because there are a lot of people who might be using Twitter through a VPN or through Tor, and what's the word? I guess trying to get their message out from a persecuted, not persecuted. Persecuted is not a word. A persecuted region, for example. I don't think, and I don't hope that Elon would go that far with that. I don't think that... I think the ultimate way this could work is human verification is entirely optional. Every user can decide if they want to do it or they don't. If you don't do it, there are no limitations on what you can do on the platform. It's just you don't have the blue check mark. So people might think you are a bot, but if you are in a position where you can't verify yourself for whatever reason, then you don't actually have to. I think that's a good middle ground. As long as they can make sure they are storing the data in a, in a safe way. Obviously, we have the crypto bros in here trying to shield their crypto stuff. Do you want to use proof of humanity? We have 15,000 registered users. Do you know how big your system would need to expand for all of Twitter? I don't know what proof of humanity is. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. But this is Elon's Twitter, so there's lots of crypto bros. No matter what Elon does, everything is crypto bros. Wait, what have we got here? 5 ideas to implement. Login via biometrics. Okay, I don't think that's a great idea considering how easy it is to fool consumer grade biometrics. Comments possible and visible only to logged in users. No, that's stupid. That's actually really stupid. Level of engagement according to public... I don't know what that means. Live discussion room. So you want just chat rooms. Doesn't Twitter already have chat rooms? And integration with fact-checking agencies. The problem with that is who's fact-checking the fact-checkers? Elon, get your priorities straight. Twitter doesn't need to authenticate all real humans, because doing this will lead to utter chaos on the platform. As someone who claims to be a free speech absolutist, your focus should be on fighting for free speech and putting an end to censorship. Can Elon not have more than one thing he wants to do? Like, there are like, you have the ability to have like a list of things you want to do. Just because he wants to do other things doesn't mean his other goal isn't also important. Man, Twitter. I love Twitter. Twitter's just full of people who just don't have the ability, just don't have the ability to have more than one thought, like store more than one thought in their brain at the same time. It's like, I keep closing this screen. It's like only one thing is possible. Anything else just doesn't matter. So there have been countless very salty articles, but one of them that got my attention was this one here from TechCrunch. So it's not rocket science. Why Elon Musk's takeover could be bad for privacy. So one of the things that Elon says he's going to do is open source the algorithms. Now, some people are really dumb. I'm going to take a moment here to explain what that means. Open source the algorithm. So Twitter uses a machine learning algorithm that personalizes the trending feed and your home feed, and every aspect, the ads you get, every aspect of the platform is controlled by machine learning systems. These machine learning systems adapt as you go and use the platform, and as you sort of, basically as you use the platform. That's the main reason. The use the platform and use any of their associated services and any of the services they may collect data from. Now, I've seen some people say that because of that, you can't open source the algorithm because the algorithm is personalized for every single user. Now, the term algorithm has become this really weird... It's basically become a buzz term. People who are not in the tech space have no idea what the word algorithm means, and if you say that YouTube has an algorithm or this platform has an algorithm, the algorithm was tweaked, everybody just thinks algorithm means bad. All algorithm means is a set of instructions to achieve a certain goal. So let's say we're doing some basic maths, for example. Let's say we have the equation 1 plus 2 plus 3. Now, an algorithm to solve that would be add 1 and 2, and then add the result of that to 3. That's one algorithm to approach solving that problem. Or you could go and say, add 1 and 3, and then add the 2 to it. All of these are different algorithms to approach this problem. All an algorithm is a set of instructions. They can be used to personalize feeds. They can be used to, solve various problems. They can be used for any sort of thing. So when someone says open sourcing the Twitter algorithm, the Twitter search algorithm, the Twitter personalization algorithms, all the machine learning algorithms they're using, what they mean is open sourcing the machine learning part of it, not necessarily how that machine learning system, how that system has customized itself for your individual use case. You don't have to release every single result of the machine learning system to release the system itself. That's basically... You'd also want to probably release some sort of test case data and how that data can influence the system, but just releasing those algorithms does not mean that everything about the platform needs to be open sourced. On that note, where was I going with open? There's another dumb point I saw. Oh, right, open source. I've seen some people saying, I know the people watching this show generally understand what the word open source means, but open source isn't a buzzword. Open source has a very specific definition. Open source is the source code. The source code is the code used to write those algorithms is viewable and is under some form of publicly accessible license. Now, this license may not allow for reuse under certain circumstances, but the general property that something has when it is open source is that the code used to write that system is visible to the public or accessible to the public in some way. Now, with all of that out of the way, here is this TechCrunch article. So, basically, this article is arguing, if we can find the specific point, the decision to open source this code likely means that it will be adopted by other social platforms, advertisers and others who are looking to hone their users' targeting. Now, this can be broken down to a couple of points. This point right here doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can have an open source license where it is not reusable in those contexts. So just because the source code is open source does not mean it is compatible with every other project out there. You could have something under a license like a free software license like GPL, for example. Then that couldn't be merged into a proprietary project. And unlike a lot of GPL projects, if you messed with Twitter's license, well, Twitter was just bought for $44 billion. I think they have the money to basically fuck you. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess with any licenses that are put out by Twitter. Now, this point about being used by advertisers and others who are looking to hone their user targeting, I think that's fair. I think you can make the argument that making the algorithm open source does make it easier to target those users. But the only I guess exception, or the only flaw I see with that, is that people already do this. It's not that you can't already target based on how people are using the platform. It's just that doing this may make it easier. It may not make it easier. Like, you may understand how the machine learning algorithm can customize the results you see, but without understanding how that would apply to various test cases, you may not be able to sort of reverse engineer that into something that would be usable in a marketing sense. Of course, here's the other point. Of course, as with any widely adopted open source code, there are significant security implications. As we've seen with Log4Shell and Spring4Shell, vulnerabilities in widely used open source applications are exponentially more valuable. No, that's actually the exact opposite. Vulnerabilities in open source applications are far less valuable because everybody can see they exist. You can't easily sell a vulnerability for something that everybody can examine. Like, there are points you can bring up here, but I don't think that's fair. You can make the argument that sort of obfuscating the flaws in your code is going to hide those being problems for longer, but just by it being proprietary does not mean those flaws are not going to exist. And I would personally argue that a vulnerability on a platform like Facebook would be far more valuable than a vulnerability on an equally sized platform to Facebook if everything was open source. Because if something is proprietary, if the source code isn't available, it's a lot harder for someone else to sort of achieve the same vulnerability that you've achieved. It's a lot harder to discover what you've done with it because the amount of data that is visible is there's not as much data visible, it's not as easily accessible, and you sort of have to be a much higher level of attacker to be able to achieve that. So I would argue that's sort of just, it's trying to throw something around that really doesn't make any sense. Mo says that if done properly, Musk plans to wage war on so-called spam bots, which have been used to spread malware and propagate political ideologies, could generate new techniques that improve the detection and identification of spam emails. Okay, this is actually positive. Open sourcing Twitter's algorithm could lead to malicious actors gaming the algorithm. Have you heard of YouTube? Have you heard of Mr. Breast? Have you heard of Mr. Beast? Mr. Breastman. It is literally, his entire online personality is built around him gaming the fuck out of YouTube and making shitloads of money for it. Like, people already game the closed-sourced algorithms, the proprietary algorithms. Making them open source doesn't suddenly make it so people have the ability to game it. It just makes it... Okay, let's see what we have here. It just makes it, like, easier to see what's going on inside of the magical algorithm black box. Think, for example, of external manipulation of targeted advertising aspects of Twitter, which is an area of concern for privacy even before it gets gamed. This is a really dumb point. Think, for example, of external manipulation of the targeted advertising aspects of Twitter. Just because the source code is open doesn't mean that you have the ability to manipulate the results you see from the algorithm. That's just not what that means. I do love these doctors, these professors, these experts in like informatics and computer science who just are making these points that don't make any sense. Like, they just went and found the few people who are going to, like, make an argument that these things are bad just because they're bad, and then like, see, look, they're doctors. They said they said this is the case. Musk's short statement left much to the imagination. He did not say what his plans for authenticating all humans, or what his plans were for authenticating all humans. Some read it as a plan to extend Twitter's existing verification system, or planning to introduce a real name policy that will require users to provide documented evidence of their legal name. I'm really interested what they're going to do. And yeah, the EFF has voiced concerns about a real name policy. I am on the EFF side here. I do think a totally optional verification system, though, it's inherently a good thing. I think completely optional verification isn't bad. Twitter doesn't have end-to-end encryption for DMs. Yeah, it doesn't have that. I don't know why you're communicating through Twitter DMs anyway, but yes, it's a terrible way to do it. Nobody fucking responds to Twitter DMs in a timely fashion. But yeah, I am interested to see what Elon does. I will make my judgments on his actions when we see him do anything, is basically my stance on it at this stage. Anyway, I finally have a working connection again. So, for about 2 months, my connection was running at 13 down, roughly 13 to 15 down, and 0.2 to 0.5 upload. Now, this was not good. Basically, this meant for a regular video, it would take anywhere from 2 to 3.5 hours to upload a video, which is very time consuming. For the podcast, because there's like, a lot of it is static and a lot of it can be compressed fairly well, it leads to about 12 or 15 hours to upload the podcast, which, yeah, which is not fun. But finally, my connection is working again. I am back on 54 down, 20 up. It's lovely. I find a video. It uploads in 5 minutes. It's great. I love it. It probably, it'd be nice to upload a little quicker, but look, I'm not being literally held back in my day waiting for shit to upload. Like, it was so annoying because I would upload my podcast the day before, like, I'm gonna probably play some 14 tomorrow, or I'm gonna do this requiring the internet, or that requiring the internet, and it's like, well, shit's fucked. Doesn't work. It doesn't work till 3 in the afternoon. So, yeah, now that that's dealt with, it's nice. It's certainly nice. I've gotten most of my stuff uploaded already. I'm like still in the mindset of uploading the way I was before. I think the way I was uploading it, like during the break, where I basically, or during the streaming break, I guess, during the terrible internet break, basically trying to get everything uploaded as early as possible in the week, leaving uploads just before I was doing it overnight, but sort of like getting all of my week's uploads basically ready and queued up and all that at the start of the week. I think it makes later in the week a little bit calmer to deal with. Like, the first couple of days are always like fucking I work in a stupid way. I work like fucking 10+ hour days the first 3 days of the week, and then just drop off on Thursday and Friday. Like, that's my plan, and it seems to be working quite well. The only exception is when I have some like big story that shows up on like a Thursday or something. Like, I have to get this out like as quickly as possible, which for a while hasn't happened, but it's happened many a times in the past. So I still don't know what the problem was. My housemate went and called up the ISP. They reset it, and then it worked. That was all. He's good now. That's all that's had to be done. He's good now. So, yeah. I'm still moving to a new place, though. There's nothing changing with that. I've got plenty of other fucking reasons to leave this place, but we're having some connection problems, you might say, at that new property. So I'll find the messages in particular, because I've been chatting back and forth with Dylan about it. So, is it this one? There it is. Is that? Yeah. Oh. Okay, so this was back on the 21st of April. Hi, Dylan. Our network provider has advised that the network testing team is still diagnosing. Oh, she maybe earlier than that? Okay, no, that was the first one about the fault. Okay. Is still diagnosing your fault, and this has now been reallocated to the Level 2 team for further investigation. The network testing team has requested another 1 to 2 business days to investigate this issue. We sincerely apologize for the delay, and will keep you updated as information comes to hand. Sorry, mate. Regards, the mate team. So this was on 21st of April. This was, I think, 3 or 4 days after he set up the connection. So I took my stuff over, like a lot of my stuff over the other day. Like my bookshelf is literally empty right now with like, I think there's like 3 books there just so I have something to do at night for the coming 4 weeks. But he went and called them again, and we have this message. So actually, no, while I was there, we actually called up the ISP, and I had to get my name added to the contract as well so I can call them up and deal with stuff when he's not there. But we called up the ISP. They took us through the modem setup process just in case, we did something wrong, which is totally, that's totally fine. That's what I want him to do. He was very, very confused about the fact that I'd already managed to open up the modem settings without him telling me how to type in 192.168.1.1, but we got there in the end. He's definitely clearly used to people who are not very techy. So someone with any sort of basic networking knowledge, even though I'm not very good at networking, was sort of a surprise. And it's always a surprise to ISPs whenever that happens. But we called them up. They basically said, we can't do anything on our end. We'll reset it. We'll do that. But after that, we can't do anything on our end. This is a problem that needs to be raised up with the NBN. So they sent off the request. He said, he literally told us, I'm going to tell them to hurry up and deal with it, basically. Like, in those words. I will tell them to hurry up. So, as of yesterday, we got this message. Justin. Oh, no, I guess he said Justin? Yeah, he just said Justin. So the message itself. Hi, Dylan. Our network provider has advised us they have found no fault with your internet service. However, we do not believe this is correct. As such, we have rejected this response, and your fault has been escalated. Unfortunately, we have to wait for their response, so we sincerely apologize for the delay, and we'll let you know as soon as we have another update. Sorry, mate. Regards, the mate team. I fucking love that response. This is why I like mate, because a lot of the time, they just sort of say it how it is. It's a lot less of the, extreme corporate speak. Hey, the sort of, like, the sort of people where I'm not, I can't even, like, pretend to do the corporate speak. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, where you feel like that the person on the other end of the line could have been replaced with, like, a caricature of a businessman, or could have been replaced with a robot, and literally nothing would have changed. I like mate because they actually have, like, human discussions with you. So yeah, they told him basically, that's fucking wrong. There's clearly a fault here. Fix it. So now we are waiting again. We're waiting again to find out what the plan is, what's gonna happen. So far, it's been almost 2 weeks with no connection at that house. So, yeah. If things go very badly, I'll have to delay when I'm moving. Probably, like, I'll just delay it, like, as minimal amount of time as I can. Hopefully everything is working by the end of next month, though. If it's not, that's kind of insane. Like, it's weird, though, because we know there were tenants in that house. Like, Dylan literally had people renting that house out before we moved in. So, obviously, they would have had a connection there, but we don't know why things are just not working not working for us now. There are 3 DSL ports in the house. We've tried all of them. There is this one bit in the lounge room which is covered. I doubt it's a DSL port. It would be very strange if it was, but there is a possibility there is a fourth port in that house that might be the one we need to have been using. When I go there probably on Friday or Saturday, I'm gonna mess around with stuff again to see if I can deal with it. I'm not super hopeful. I think at the end of the day, what we're gonna have to do is wait until they literally send a technician out to set up the modem and get it working. Because it's entirely possible the NBN team is right, that we don't have a fault. But everything that I've done on my end, it seems like everything should be working. Now, Australia's internet situation is really weird. I guess the US one is weird as well, but they're sort of weird in other directions. So, in Australia, we basically have a government monopoly. So, we have a government monopoly and then a corporate monopoly for the other side of it. So, Australia's system is called the NBN, the National Broadband Network. Now, this was a system that initially was going to be fiber to every home in Australia. I think by now, actually, it would have been done if they stuck with the initial rollout plan. Every house would have had fiber. That didn't happen, though. So, like what happens in the US and many other many other countries, during the middle of a really long-term project, there was a shift of government. And when there was a shift of government, things got changed. They didn't like the plan the other guys were doing. They thought it was too expensive. And they went from doing fiber to every home to a system known as fiber to the node, where there'll be a node in like a block of streets. And that node has fiber running directly to it. Then from that node, you use the existing copper line that's been there for like 100 years and then send the connection to their house. Now, for obvious reasons, this is worse. For obvious reasons, relying on the ancient copper for the last mile is going to give you shitty speeds. So, on the copper, you can max get 100 by 40. Like, that is the top-end connection. I think maybe if you go with the business line, you can get, like, symmetrical 100. Maybe. But don't quote me on that. So, right now we have half the country that's on... Or not even half the country, like, random-ass suburbs, like, places in the city, my house that I'm in right now, fucking Alice Springs, like, literally 300 kilometers in the middle, probably even longer, 500 kilometers in the middle of nowhere, and those places have fiber, but then a lot of all the newer developments, every house that's been built in the past at least 5 years has fiber to the node and then copper to the house. But it's not just that. So there's also a lot of places like up in Waikerie and Berry and places like that, not in the town area, but in the, like, you know, the offshoot, because those are country towns, they're rural towns where they don't have fiber to the node or fiber to the home, they have wireless. So basically, they have like a cell tower. They use that to connect to the internet. Some places even still have satellite. So we went from this really nice fiber to the home. Everybody in the country would have had fiber. We would have... The initial plan was to turn Australia into, like, the new tech powerhouse. Like, that's what we were going to do. We were going to have fiber to everybody. Basically, we were planning to compete with, like, countries such as Korea on that front. But we decided, nope, not going to happen. So, yeah, now we just have this mishmash situation. But the bigger problem with it, besides the mishmash, is we have this government monopoly. So, if you don't like the NBN, your option is don't have internet. That's your option. And then for the existing copper that's there, around 85 or so % is owned by Telstra, who is our largest telco, and it effectively operates as its own monopoly. So you have the NBN and then Telstra monopoly, which is similar but different to the US style monopoly, where the major ISPs just agree to not compete with each other. So you guys have this like district monopoly where companies decide just not to compete with each other. In Australia, we have there's like hundreds of ISPs here, but it's kind of like how there are hundreds of VPS providers and hundreds of VPN providers. They're not actually their own provider. A lot of them are just reselling. And in the case of the NBN, every single ISP in Australia is just reselling the NBN. Because at least from my understanding, nobody has their own fiber. There may be like very tiny companies in like very specific places, but as like a nationwide thing, it is just a government monopoly, which has its benefits. It means that prices will never go above a certain level. Like, the government has straight up decided we're just gonna price fix it. Like, this is the price, that's what it is. So you'll usually see when ISPs are offering stuff, it's like within $5 or $10, or maybe they'll lower the price below the actual. My computer went to sleep for a moment. What the fuck? Maybe they'll lower it below the actual MSRP cost, but they'll bundle it with something else. Like, they'll bundle it with cable TV, which is Foxtel here, or other things like that. They'll bundle it with Netflix subscriptions, which end up being more expensive than just buying it yourself. Or they'll bundle it with your phone plan and things like that. So they'll lose money on the internet by itself, but make more money overall because they're getting you to spend more money with their company. Australia's internet situation is kind of fucked. It's not as bad as it used to be. Like, we're not in a situation anymore where, unless you have a business connection, you physically cannot stream. Like, I can stream on a mid-tier connection here. A mid-tier connection is 50 by 20. That's what I've got now. It works fine. But yeah. Nobody. The thing about the NBN is nobody in this country likes the NBN. Like, unless you're an NBN employee or like you're, I don't know, funding the NBN, nobody likes the NBN. Like, they are a universally hated service. Not to say that every government service is like universally hated. Like, obviously, people generally like the fire brigade, and people complain about Australia Post, our National Post service, but they do their job. Like, National Post gets shit on time. It's gotten a lot better in the past couple of years. But the NBN, I don't know a single person who likes the NBN. I'll see if I can find Google reviews of the NBN. NBN Google reviews. I wonder. Yeah, here we go. Product review. 1.4 stars, 844 reviews. Value for money, 1.3. Transparency, 1.3. Customer service, 1.3. Adequate speeds, 109. Yes, okay, surprising. No, 260. 721 star reviews. I want to have a look at these reviews, actually. Please tell me you didn't post your IP address. Okay. Oh my god. Technician who installed NBN to our building is a shonk. That's a very Australian way to describe it. Even I could have done a better job. Seriously, workmanship, so poor it devalues our property. So yeah, when you do you do fiber to the home, and I think, oh yeah, hybrid fiber coaxial is another thing. You'll have lines running around your house like this, and what even is this? Like, why is that not covered? To be fair, your house is pretty shit anyway. You have a giant hole in the wall, or a giant crack in the wall. Ineptitude to the node. 17 hours ago, we were forced to transfer across to the NBN from our ADSL, which, yeah, a lot of people are still on older DSL connections. I think you're actually getting forced to migrate now. We have the NBN, which for the last 3 years constantly drops out and has been for at least half a day of every month. Oh wow. Not reliable at all. Too slow, and it's almost you're in too slow, and it's almost you're in line to use it. Oh, right, you're saying like it's so slow that it feels like you're in a queue. Pay top money and cannot use it like our cable. Wish I never connected and was able to keep my big pond. It was 100% better. Appalling service. Terrible installation. Yeah, it seems like it's fairly commonly terrible installation. Technician confirmed that 50 megabit is not achievable, so I was downgraded to the slowest plan. Also, the connection is unstable. NBN won't upgrade you to fiber to the premises unless you buy a premium. I didn't know you could actually pay for it. All I wanted was 50 megabits stable. Now I have to fork out for 100 megabit. Wait, what? I'm sorry. They told you that you couldn't get 50 megabit at your house, but they will give you 100 megabits. What? I'm sorry, what? To me, it feels like they're money hungry and worth nothing. True. But it's kind of funny, like, all of the ISPs, like Mate, for example, they're popular on the NBN because they make it so you don't have to deal directly with the NBN. I just realized you couldn't see half the screen, but it was fine. Most of the review was here anyway. If only there was a 0-star option. The most fucked company on earth. Pathetic service. Don't let them install it. Absolutely useless and won't send out a technician. I know that feeling. I know that feeling very, very well. I've recently relocated my Aussie Broadband services to new house. However, I won't successfully connect because Aussie Broadband determined the issue came from the NBN side and required on-site fix. They'd been raising a case to the NBN for more than 2... This is me. Never reply and no progress. When I directly engaged the NBN, the reply was just to acknowledge your case, but refuse to update any progress and refuse to communicate. Even I lodged a complaint case. I had no choice but to purchase a Wi-Fi dongle for my home internet as a workaround. Fucking hell. Like, what are these reviews? I actually want to see the 5-star. I have to see the 5-star. Who gives 5-star to the NBN? Get rid of the 1-star. Okay, just show the 5-star. What do we have here? On-site technician was brilliant. Moved into rental accommodation to find phone connection just wasn't working. Technician spent over 90 minutes inside in the central pit across the road remedying what was major problem. I'm sure they have great employees. Great maintenance work. Great technician. I love how nobody talking about it's a great company. Great technician. Great experience. Great technician. No, but except this guy who has fiber to the house and this guy who has HFC, which are both inherently better than copper. The vast majority of people are just saying they had a good technician. Oh, I love it. What is NBN phone number? What else do we have in the Q&A? Why is it that my service says my difficulty is connecting the NBN node in my street in Belcanon are an NBN problem, and the NBN people say it's my service provider. Oh, I love it. This is so good. I'm confused. How come I have to pay more for internet? Is there a cheaper way? I don't use much. Telstra quotes 75. What fucking plan are you on that Telstra's quoting you $75? Telstra NBN. That's not the minimum plan. I know that. That's the price you would pay for. That's about the price you would pay for 100 megabit. What? Telstra is charging $80 a month for 25 by 4? I'm sorry, what? No shot. $140 for 250 by 20? Not even the actual speed it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be like 250 by 60 or something. No, 250 by 100. What? I'm going to show you Mate. Okay. We're going to go to Mate's pricing. What the fuck? Telstra is a scam. We'll put in a address that is not my address. Yeah, here we go. We'll choose this address from New South Wales. That should work. No, okay, well, I'm not going to use that one because it's fixed wireless. Let's find something just in the Adelaide city centre, just the first one that shows up. 722 Adelaide Park, yeah. My god. Stop giving me things that are fixed wireless. I just want to see your stupid prices. Give me something. I don't want to use my actual address. God damn it. Here we go. Here's one. Here we go. That'll work. Fiber to the no. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So, this is an internet-only bundle. So, 25 by 5 is $60, not 80. Telstra is literally upselling $20 over the actual price. Wow. That does not surprise me. It is Telstra. Obviously, you know, during peak period, they're going to be slower, but this is what you're supposed to be getting for $90. 100 by 40, which is typically 83 during peak. $90. Not, what was it, 110? Something stupid like that? Like, what the hell's Telstra? What is Telstra even, like, they're straight up not even giving you the actual package. Like, they're selling you more and giving you less upload. Like, this is the 100 by 40 package by the NBN. But they're like, no. Fuck you. That's not gonna happen. If you wanted a reason to not use Telstra and you didn't already have one, that's certainly a good reason. I just realized I've been speaking for nearly an hour and we haven't taken a break yet. I'm gonna do that and we're back in just a moment. That's going to be enough for ranting about the internet. Let's talk about something slightly different. Not the stopping ranting part, but ranting about other things. So, what do we have on my list of the topics here? Oh, here we go. You want to make a scuffed Steam Deck. So, we all know about, I hope we all know, a company called Framework. Framework, they make laptops, and they sell you literally everything in the device. You have QR codes on everything. There is documentation. You can repair it very easily. It's a really cool company. It's basically like the polar opposite of the modern laptop manufacturer, the laptop seller. And when you actually buy the motherboard by itself, they'll also give you like the dimensions of it. You literally don't have to go and measure that yourself. They'll just literally give you, they'll give you the information you need to go and make your own custom case, which I think is really, really cool. So you could do something like this for some reason and make yourself basically a very scuffed Steam Deck. I don't think you should do it, but you probably, someone who's smart enough to do it, could probably, you know, use a ribbon cable and wire in a screen on here and, like, build up some controls. I haven't seen anyone do it, but I don't expect it to not happen. Right, I forgot about the Framework Marketplace. This is basically a marketplace where users can sell, like, custom, Actually, no, this is not that one. This is different. No, this is just their first party stuff. Okay, no, there is like a separate thing. I didn't realize they'd expanded it to do like a lot of this stuff already. What do we have in here? So I know all of this stuff was like basic stuff that they initially had with the system. What is this? Did anyone else see that? Can who made this? For anyone just listening, there is like a back to the top button in the bottom right hand corner. But rather than just being a static button, as you scroll, it spins. Sure. Okay, whatever. Oh, they actually even sell you NVMe drives that they know work in their system. That's cool. And that they are nice drives. They're WD black drives, which are a bit overkill for just regular people, but hey, that's cool. So we have a blank. Oh, we have a blank ANSI keyboard. That's actually pretty neat. There's the British English. There's a clear. Oh, that's actually cool. I don't typically like, clear tech, but I can get behind a clear keyboard like that. That's actually really neat. I think it would get very dirty very quickly, and you would notice it. But either way, it's kind of neat. We have a French-Canadian one. Wow, they've actually got a lot of stuff here. But not just buying the keyboard covers, they've got like the individual keyboards as well. Wow, they've actually really expanded a lot of the stuff here. Oh, they've even got some, they've even got traditional Chinese one. Wow, that's actually really neat. Man, I love Framework. Framework is like, it's such a cool company. I don't have any need. They sell you Windows 10 Pro as well. I don't have any need for a new laptop. But if I did, Framework is pretty high up on that list. Yes, it's not the cheapest laptop by any means, but I want this company to do well. And I think they make, especially for the price range, like, this is a really nice looking laptop in the for like the pre-built version in the $1,000 price range. Like, that's an incredibly nice laptop for $1,000, because usually what you would see in that range is like very plasticky Dell nonsense. You're like, I'm not a big fan of this, but they make nice devices. They make nice devices, and they're a company that actually is dedicated to repairability, and they're a company that I hope ends up continuing to do well. I don't know how well that's going to go, but I think we can always hope. We can always hope that yeah, they end up doing well. And what is this? What the fuck is this thing? This DIY ultra compact computer has a mechanical keyboard. This thing looks like it walks straight out of like the 90s. But does it have a full size? Is that missing keys? No, I thought it was missing letters. But no, this is like maybe if you closed it 2 or 3 inches thick. But it's got a full size or like a full switch mechanical keyboard. Obviously not full size, but like the switches are regular size switches. And there you can hear it. That's neat. That's honestly really cool. Oh my god, this is very DIY. This is very DIY. The inside of it is, it's a little scuffed, but hey, if it works, I guess. What is the lower and the raise key? Also, I love the fact that the spacebar is, there's not enough space for a spacebar, so the spacebar is actually 2 individual keys, because you wouldn't be able to find a double wide keycap like that. I guess you could. No, you could, because your backspace and stuff is double wide, so they could have used that same sort of key and then made it the space key instead. But hey, some people like having people got angry at me when I talked about the, I think, was it the System 76 keyboard? That had, like, individual spacebar keys. I thought it was dumb. People got angry about that. I was like, I still think it's dumb, but hey, if you like it, you like it, and that's cool. Speaking of things that are cool, Netflix is dying. Netflix is fucking bleeding users. So, Netflix bleeding users. They lost 200,000? 200. Okay, it's not showing the exact number here, but they lost. Oh, here we go. Oh, I typed it wrong. They lost 200,000 subs in the first quarter and are expecting to lose more and expecting to lose 2 million subs. Now, I don't think this is as bad as some people are making it out to be. Now, Twitter stockholders are very, very sad about this, and Netflix stockholders, are not very happy about this. It is plummeted in value. Share price, let's see. So, it has gone from 660 to 200. Oh, in the past 6 months, it is fucking gone way down. Oh my god. What the fuck? I didn't think it was that bad. Oh my god, Netflix. Okay, anyone just listening, Netflix is down to its value that it was in 2017. So this isn't like, you know, pandemic correction like a lot of companies are going through, especially a lot of internet-based companies where they shot up in value while everyone was inside, while everyone was like on the internet. No, this is like, they did obviously lose a lot of pandemic value as well, but this is, the company is like fucking collapsing. Oh my god. And investors are massively selling off their Netflix stocks. Jesus Christ. Right. I was saying that I expected Netflix to lose subscribers, even ignoring Netflix being Netflix, because people are now able to go back outside again in many places, and if you're not inside all the time, maybe having that Netflix sub isn't as valuable to you, so you're gonna cancel it and things like that. But this is so much worse. So, over the past couple of months, Netflix has been doing a couple of things that have not been great. Actually, not even the past couple of months, maybe the past year or so. You've had them funding a lot of shows that people haven't been a super big fan of. Like, you know, just fairly mid-tier shows. A lot of the anime they're funding, this is where, like, this is one of the weird things. Netflix might be funding, like, mid-tier shows for regular people, but in the anime space, Netflix has been funding some fucking bangers. Like, they, let's see. They funded Blue Period. Blue Period is genuinely incredible. Let's see. I don't want to see the things that are on Netflix. I just want to see Netflix. Anime funded Netflix. Netflix original anime. Thank you, Wikipedia. Okay. They also funded Bucky the Grappler, which is fucking incredible. Beastars, which is fucking incredible. Carol and Tuesday's fine. Devilman Crybaby, which is fucking... Oh, they funded a... I was very confused why it says Doki Doki Pretty Cure, but they, funded... They funded the English dub of Doki Doki, right? They did do that, didn't they? I forgot about that. That's so bad. They funded Stone Ocean, and that did happen. Funded Kakagurui. They funded Komi-san. Like, they've got a lot of great series they have funded. But, in, like, the normie space for the regular people, apparently it's not as good. Which isn't good. They also have the problem where Netflix, over the past year or so, has been wanting to start cracking down on password sharing. And this is a big problem for Netflix, because while they might think, hey, if we crack down on password sharing, that means that everybody is going to get an account. What it actually means is the people who have an account are going to decide, oh, fuck you, I had an account because of password sharing. So that's also massively hurting them. A lot of people are not happy about it, are leaving the platform, are going back to places like, 123 Movies, if we remember that one from a couple of years back. There are other, movie streaming sites as well. They never went away. They never went away and are never going to go away. And Netflix is just helping to bring them back. We also have the problem where you have Netflix raising their prices, so you have cracking down on password sharing, cracking on password sharing, not funding great shows, and also raising prices, having a questionable catalog at best. There's a lot of good stuff on Netflix, but occasionally I'll be wanting to watch something and it just won't be on there. When I go to my parents' place, that's usually the main time I use Netflix. I use theirs, I password share, I don't fucking care. And I'll be like, hey, I want to watch, the Fast and the Furious movies, which are not on Netflix. At least not on Australian Netflix. Okay. I guess I'll just go elsewhere to watch it then. I'm gonna watch this movie. I don't care if, you don't have it or not. I'm gonna watch this movie. Yes, you can complain about me liking the Fast and the Furious, but I think it's a fucking incredible franchise, but that is what it is. You guys should know that I love Fast and the Furious. I like really stupid shows, and it definitely fits that criteria. So you have that problem because you have all of these this the advantage Netflix had back when it first started. Netflix was the streaming service, so everything was on Netflix. But now you have Hulu, now you have Disney Plus, now you have this, now you have that, and every big company has their own streaming service, and some of them have, really good libraries, like Disney, because Disney owns everyone. Disney has the Marvel stuff. Disney has Star Wars. Disney has the Disney classics. They own Pixar. How do you compete with that? How do you compete with some of the highest grossing movies of all time and people's childhood? The answer is you don't. That's basically it. You don't compete with that. You just lose. And all of this stuff is causing Netflix to just plummet. And piracy to rise, because that's what's going to happen. And it's been going... we have a report here from a site called Dataprot, with some piracy statistics. So I don't know how valuable or accurate this data is, but 17 billion visits to pirate sites. I'm guessing this is per year. Wait, this is a 22 report based on older data. That's fucking terrible. But you have articles here from The Guardian, for example. Streaming was supposed to stop piracy. Now it is easier than ever. And that's the problem. So there is this great graphic that I saw quite a while back. I think I've shown it on the podcast before. Can I find it? Probably won't. I should have saved it. Every time I find this image, I say I should have saved it, and I don't save it. Basically, it is... So, piracy is massive. Streaming services show up. Piracy plummets. Same thing that's happened with Steam and gaming. Gaming piracy went down because Steam made it very easy to access games. Then what happened is a lot of streaming services started to exist, and they started distributing their content between the platforms. So now rather than having to have a $10 Netflix sub, you need to have like $80 or $90 of subs to all of these different services because you want to watch one show on every service. So now you're paying more than you would have paid for a cable subscription. And that's one of the other reasons why streaming went well initially, because it was, much cheaper than having cable. Then as that happened, people realized, wait, I don't want to pay this. And then piracy went back up and the cycle will continue. I kind of expect until streaming services hit the same sort of convenience that Steam has, that it keeps being a problem. Like, where streaming services basically need to be is we need to just stop talking about, like, licensing and region locking as if it's the 80s. Like, it's not the 80s. If I want to watch something that is only on, Japanese Netflix or British Netflix, just because it's only on those services doesn't mean I can't watch it. Like, that's not how that works anymore. You need to have worldwide distribution. Steam does this so well because as long as the game isn't banned in your country, you can buy all the same games regardless of where you are. There's no region locking to it. Like, unless the devs explicitly go out of their way to do it, there's no region locking there at all. That's the problem that streaming services have. They're still in this region locking mindset when everybody else has moved on from that and realizes that it's dumb and realizes that there are no borders on the internet and you can't just say you're not allowed to watch that and then think people are just not going to watch it. Or the only way to watch this is by paying a ludicrous amount of money. If you make it unreasonable, people are just not going to pay it. Like, that's just how it goes. Speaking of things that are unreasonable, Bored Apes. Bored Apes, NFTs, gotta love it. Thief steals $1 million of Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs with this Instagram hack, which I fucking love. So, I haven't actually read this article, so I don't actually know the full details. A phishing link was sent from the project's official Instagram account, which transferred NFTs into the hacker's wallet. That's beautiful. A hacker stolen NFTs worth millions after compromising the official Instagram account for Bored Ape Yacht Club and posting to it a phishing link that transferred tokens out of the user's crypto wallets. This is why you shouldn't use web-based wallets. Stop having wallets in your web browser. So the hack was disclosed on Twitter by Bored Ape Yacht Club just before 10 a.m. ET on Monday morning. There is no mint going on today. The tweet read, "It looks like Bored Ape Yacht Club Instagram was hacked." Another tweet from a user unaffiliated with the project claimed to show the image that had been posted from the Bored Ape Yacht Club promoting an airdrop, essentially a free token giveaway for any user who connected their MetaMask wallets. Yeah, stop using MetaMask. Stop having your fucking crypto wallet in your browser. It's a bad idea, and shit like this can happen. So unfortunately, Bored Ape Yacht Club came. Bored Ape Yacht Club's warning came too late for a number of holders of the extremely expensive Bored Ape NFTs, along with many other valuable NFTs stolen in the hack. A screenshot posted by one Twitter user showed an OpenSea page for the hacker's account receiving more than a dozen NFTs from Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, Bored Ape Kennel Club projects, and presumably from users who connected their wallets after clicking the phishing link. That is fucking incredible. I love it. Oh, it's so beautiful. This is basically like internet Darwinism at play. You're so fucking stupid that you store your $100,000 token that points to an image that you don't own on an internet connected wallet. Like, that's how stupid you are. So, the profile page tied to the hacker's wallet address was no longer visible on OpenSea at the time of publication. OpenSea head of communications Ali Mack confirmed to The Verge that the hacker's account has been banned on the platform. as OpenSea's terms of service prohibited fraudulently obtaining items or otherwise taking them without authorization. The question is, what's actually going to happen with these NFTs? Because I don't, they're going to get sold at some point. That's the thing. They're going to get sold at some point, so I don't know if they're now blacklisted from these services and nobody can ever sell them on these platforms. I'm not actually sure how OpenSea handles that situation. But given the decentralized nature of NFT, the content of the hacker's wallet can still be viewed in other platforms seen through the NFT platform Rarible. Which I'm guessing just doesn't give a fuck. The wallet contained 134 NFTs, among them 4 Bored Apes, and many other items from projects made by Yuga Labs, the creators of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, such as Mutant Apes and Bored Ape Kennel Club. This is amazing. This is just genuinely amazing. Maybe the guy just did it just to fuck with them. He doesn't even want to make money. He's like, I'm going to take these NFTs because I don't like NFTs. So it is not yet known how the hacker was able to compromise the project's Instagram account. In a statement to The Verge by email and posted on Twitter, Yuga Labs said that two-factor authentication was enabled at the time of the attack and that the security of the Instagram account followed best practices. Yuga Labs also said the team was actively working to establish contact with affected users. Could it be an inside job? Could it be a fucking inside job? And the guy who did this hack actually works at Yuga Labs. I don't know. It's entirely possible. Or, you know, maybe it's like a two-person job. Like one person compromises the password and then some means manages to use get the two-factor authentication code from someone working at the business. Though NFTs can be bought and sold for huge amounts of money, they're often held in smartphone wallets rather than more secure environments because the popular decentralized crypto wallet application MetaMask only supports NFT display on mobile. It also encourages users to manage NFTs through the smartphone app rather than the browser-based extension. This means the use of Instagram to deliver a phishing link is an effective way to steal NFTs, as the phishing link is more likely to be interacted with from a mobile wallet. So even worse, it's on a mobile app, not just in their web browser. So while security advice in the crypto space suggests NFT holders never connect their wallet to an unknown or untrusted third party, no shit. The fact that the phishing link was sent through the official Bored Ape Yacht Club social media account likely convinced the victims that it was legitimate, raising difficult questions about where exactly the fault lies. It lies in the stupid people who bought the $100,000 monkey. That's where it lies. And I feel literally no sympathy for you. None at all. And nothing of value was lost. My heart is broken, sending thoughts and prayers. Press F to pay respects. I love that nobody at this point, like, publicly cares about, like, outside of the crypto space, nobody cares about NFTs. Unless you are already an NFT bro, nobody cares about NFTs. And it's a great spot to be in. The only other people that care about NFTs are the people who are, like, actively trying to, you know, get money out of you. Like, nobody is trying to shill NFTs to you unless they have something to sell. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. The only people who care about NFTs are the people who have something to sell. Either they are making an NFT or they bought an NFT and are looking for the next sucker to buy it. I don't think that NFTs in their current state are ever going to be actually useful. Maybe in the future, some other use case, but as it stands, definitely not. Other forms of crypto, hey, I think you can make an argument for that. There are some very, what's the word? Low income? Not, that's not a word. Low countries with very low economic power that are adopting Bitcoin as their official currency. I think it was There was a country in Africa that recently did so. Country adopts Bitcoin. No, it wasn't El Salvador. There was one more recently than that. Oh. Okay, well yes, that would be a place in Africa, wouldn't it? In the Central African Republic, which presumably exists in Africa. I would have to guess. Yeah, they have adopted, or at least are talking about adopting, a Bitcoin as a legal tender, as their national currency, because right now their currency is worth literally nothing. Like literally nothing. Like, the number doesn't show if you look up their currency on like Google, something like that. I don't know what effect this is going to have going into the future. I don't know if more countries are going to adopt it. I don't expect a country that, like, is strong economically, like, you know, Australia or the US or Canada, to adopt it anytime soon. Like, the crypto bros can definitely wish for that to happen, but I don't think that any country with a strong economy is going to take that risk, is going to throw away whatever economy they have in the chase of crypto. But if your country is, like, if your currency is literally falling apart from under you, it can't get worse. Like, it certainly can't fucking get worse. If everybody's already broke, they can't be broker. That's basically how I look at it. But speaking of crypto and NFTs, do you want to have a doctor in the metaverse? Because I don't. But go read this report about the virtual doctors at an NFT clinic who can't legally give medical advice. I definitely want a doctor who's not legally allowed to give me medical advice. That's definitely a doctor that I want. So, if combining NFTs with the medical industry doesn't sound the most logical, this report from BuzzFeed News will likely confirm your skepticism. I don't like BuzzFeed, you know, being the source of information, but we'll take it as it is. An NFT project called MetaDocs assigns doctors slash influencers like Dr. Pimple Popper to somewhat unsightly cartoon personifications of themselves, which users can then purchase to gain access to one-on-one conversations, question-answer sessions, or DMs. Why do you need an NFT for that? What part of this exchange requires a blockchain? So, but despite MetaDoc's goal of cutting red tape that comes with gaining access to doctors, the MetaDocs themselves aren't legally able to give medical advice to NFT holders. MetaDocs doesn't have a license to practice telemedicine, barring its doctors from giving medical advice, writing prescriptions, or virtually diagnosing patients. Which means you may be a doctor, but you can't do your fucking job. Like, Imagine going to a doctor and that doctor says, I am not legally allowed to give you medical advice. That's not a doctor that I want to be going to. So at this point, we're hesitant to refer to anybody as a patient, probably because you'll get sued. Dr. Dustin Portella, a MetaDocs physician and dermatologist. Now, are you a MetaDocs physician and dermatologist, or are you an actual physician and dermatologist? That is the real question. You may just be an influencer that happens to know about those things. Dr. Dustin Portella. You're a certified dermatologist in Boise, Idaho. Okay. You know what? I'll take back what I said. You're also an influencer, but you are a certified doctor, at least according to your website. You may not actually be one. You have a LinkedIn, according to your LinkedIn as well. Okay, sure. We'll just take it as it is what it is. The disconnect is made even more obvious with the price tag of these NFTs. According to BuzzFeed, MetaDocs hasn't determined a final price, but kicked around a cost of 0.2 ETH or $570. A potentially higher amount than you'd pay seeing a real general physician without insurance. So, the US is weird. $570 to go and see a doctor is fucking insane. But the US is very strange. So, crypto is very strange, but that's where I was going with this. $570 to speak to a doctor who can't give you medical advice, who cannot write prescriptions, and who cannot diagnose a patient. Or you can go to a actual doctor who can do all of those things and pay less. What are you selling? Like, what are you actually selling here? Also, there's the problem where if this did become popular, it'll have the same NFT effect where you might pay $10,000 to go see a doctor. However, MetaDocs founder Dr. Sina Jurabachi, I probably butcher your name really badly, I apologize, told BuzzFeed the value of MetaDocs isn't linked to medical care. The value of your doctor isn't linked to medical care. Okay. Our deliverable is connecting people with these doctors for a value of whatever they want to talk about or connect with. The blurred lines between conversation about medicine and medical advice may have caused some doctors to jump ship. I'm no doctor, right? But this seems like a pretty easy way to lose your medical license. Giving medical advice in a situation where you're at a practice that is not legally allowed to do so seems like a bad idea to me. Maybe you disagree, but to me at least, that seems like you're very much on a tightrope, and you don't want to fall on either side. So, BuzzFeed reports that 9 doctors, including 2 that say they never consented to having their names included in the project, have since been removed from MetaDocs documentation. It sounds like they're a scam. I'm not going to say they're a scam, but it certainly sounds like it. More crypt grifto. Come on, you can surely come up with a better, like grifto. Grifto is a better one than crypto grifto. Our deliverable is connecting people with these doctors for a value of whatever they want to talk about or connect with. What value is there in talking to a doctor who can't give medical advice? If you just want a general conversation, you can do that anywhere without forking over a pile of money. Prefacing that with corporate buzzwords, our deliverable just makes this worse. It kind of does. I guess, hey look, MetaDocs could pivot. So you're paying to talk to someone. They could just expand that into adult services, and hey look, you've now got... Is there a crypto-based prostitute service? I'm gonna find out. Crypto prostitution. NFT prostitution. Okay, now we know there are porn creators doing it, and OnlyFans wants to get into the NFT game. Sure, makes sense. I'm surprised that we haven't seen, like, people have talked about. This is an idea. People have talked about selling like tickets to an event and having that be through NFTs. Just imagine sex work like this. You could buy an NFT to have sex with someone. It doesn't mean you get to have sex with them. It just means you have an NFT that says you can have sex with them. This is such a brilliant idea. Man, I should start this. Before anyone hears this, I'm going to start up my own crypto grift, and this is what my service is going to be. No one steal my idea. I want to be on the ground floor of this. It'll be a $1 billion-dollar idea. This will be bigger than Bitcoin. I guarantee it. But the funny thing about it is because it would be on your publicly accessible Ethereum wallet, literally everybody could see when and who you are fucking. What an idea. I genuinely love I love this idea. Don't steal my idea. It's too perfect. Oh my god. I love the crypto space. I genuinely do. Speaking of things I don't love, this is gonna end very badly. And I really don't like the fact that this is a thing that's slowly becoming more and more acceptable. So we all know that modern cars do away with a lot of the like knobs and dials in favor of having touchscreens. And Tesla even goes so far where you have a TV in the car and you can watch movies. Now, in the UK, you will be able to watch TV in self-driving cars on UK roads. Now, obviously, that's not intended for the driver, but the TV exists next to the driver's head. You don't think a driver is going to see the TV there and not, like, every so often peek over. That seems really dangerous. And like it's going to end really badly. But, yeah, the UK is now going to let you be incredibly dangerous on the road. But the funny thing about this article is, they specifically have this clarification here. One of these clarifications in regarding to what people can do while riding in a self-driving vehicle and while screens are in, mobile phones and likely video games are out. So you can drive down the road watching, I don't know, watching fucking, if you want to. Drive down the road watching the Halo TV series, for example. And you can do that. And you can watch this on the screen and not pay any attention to the road. Or you could watch it on your phone, which is a smaller screen. But the smaller screen's not allowed. But the bigger screen is. The bigger screen that's probably more distracting. This does not seem logical. This seems like someone at Tesla and a lot of the other car manufacturers have lobbied the UK government to let this be a thing. I'm telling you this is going to end badly. I am telling you this is going to end badly. There's no way this is not going to lead to an increase in people crashing their cars. I don't think, like, if you're going to have a TV in the car, it should only be in the backseat. There should never be... I don't even like there being touchscreens in the front seat. And sure, it is with their, like, self-driving cars, sure. But Tesla does not have full self-driving cars. Like, you still have to pay attention to the road because the cars might just decide to drive you into a tree. Because that has happened. Or think that, like, you know, a target sign is actually a stop sign, for example, which also has happened on many occasions. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So this guy says, incredibly dangerous considering the current level of self-driving, mostly level 2, means the driver needs to be ready to take over at all times. How can I be ready at all times if I'm playing Elden Ring on my Steam Deck? Be reasonable. True, though. Yeah, well, you can't game. You can't game in it, so that's not going to happen. But you could watch a live stream of someone playing Elden Ring. Big brain. Stupid idea until after full self-driving is a thing. Once you can get in a car and give it a destination, not worry about paying attention again. Yeah, no, until, I fully agree. Until it's actually, like, fully self-driving, there is, like, no steering wheel, or you can set it to be, it just takes you to the destination and doesn't kill you. When we're at that point, then I think it's fine to have a TV in the front seat. We're not at that point, and until we're at that point, don't do it. Don't do it. Even if Tesla enables this for your car, please don't use it. Please, please, please do not use this. You can just give your kids phones. If you want them to be, like, entertained, give them a phone. Just don't don't have a TV show running in the front seat next to your fucking driver's seat. Unless you want to die. If you want to die, go ahead. That's an option, but that's your choice. Speaking of, I'm just like going rapid fire topics now. I don't know why. What do we have? Oh, right. I actually want to talk about my my speakers. So this isn't like the main thing I want to talk about, but Razer has a new version of their gamer soundbar. I guess what makes it gamery is that it has a LED under it. Like, I think that's literally all that makes it gamery. Because besides that, it's just a soundbar. It looks cool. I won't say anything against that. It looks really cool. It does require, like, the Razer Synapse software to, like, to customize it, which is stupid. Because it's a soundbar. So you literally need to have a computer to use it. You can't use it as a soundbar for your, just, like, your TV or your console or anything like that. But, yeah. What I want to talk about, though, is my soundbar. So, I don't even know what I have, to be honest. It's, like, it's a, you probably can't hear me very well. It's like I think it's like an LG soundbar or something. I bought it a long time ago. I feel like I might have talked, did I talk? No, I don't think I talked about it when I first bought it. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I've noticed over the... Oh, there's a logo down here as well. I've noticed over the past week or two, there has been this ever-growing humming sound. Like, when I have no sound going, or I'm playing volume fairly quietly, you can hear like a... It's not that loud, but it's like... You can definitely hear it running there. So... Then when I'm like playing back a video, like one of my videos or a video on YouTube, the bass is like really crackly. And it's not a pipe wire issue because I've used my my earphones, no problem whatsoever. I might try out like the front port or something with like for the soundbar because right now it's plugged into the back of my system. Maybe I'll try out the front port because it could be that port also going as well. But if it's not that, I'm probably going to think about, like, getting something different. I don't know what I'll get, though. Like, I'm probably going to save it until I'm obviously going to save it till I'm at the new place and, like, work out how I'm going to do all that. But I don't know if I'll get another soundbar or I will actually get, like, you know, dedicated speakers. One of the nice things about a soundbar is they are very convenient. Like, it's just a bar that sits there. It doesn't take up much space. And you're just good to go. Speakers, obviously, are probably going to sound better, but you need the space to actually have them. I feel like once I have my monitors up on monitor arms, that problem should be much less of an issue, I would guess. But I will see. I don't know if I'm going to buy it now or, like, wait until later in the year, you know, when, like, end of financial year sales roll around and, following that up in November with Black Friday, which we have adopted very, very openly in Australia. Maybe I'll wait till then, because it's not terrible, and I can always use my earphones, or I can get out, my headphones, which I'm gonna finally be able to use these properly again. Like, these are open back headphones, and for obvious reasons, open back headphones, because the backs are open and they're letting sound, are not very great if you're in a situation where there's a lot of outside noise. But at the new place, because I'm basically gonna be myself, and I'm probably thinking about soundproofing the room, using these will be nice again. And I'm very, very excited because they sound very nice. They sound very nice, and I've only used them a couple of times. I could at some point replace these earphones as well, but like these earphones are just these aren't even made anymore. They've had them for so long, and they don't sound super amazing. They're just like rock solid. They're like the most average earphones you can find. But, like, that's fine, because I know they're going to keep working. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions for a soundbar, I don't mean, like, a $2,000 soundbar, like a Dolby Atmos fucking 7.1 speaker system, anything like that. Just something that is reasonable to have on a desk that you think is worth trying out. You've used before, or you know someone with it and you think it might be worth it, or just something, maybe it's just like it catches your attention. You never used it yourself, but it seems like it might be a good one to at least give a shot. I would be happy to hear any suggestions that anyone might have. What else do we got here? I guess we can talk about... I've gone most of the podcast without talking about Final Fantasy 14, so we'll do one topic on 14. Actually, we'll do 2 topics. We've got this very short one. This is a conversation from with a GM about a player known as Mr. Chad Thundercock, which is a great name. This is the story of Chad Thundercock. So this is from GM Sombrick. Greetings, Chad. I am a Game Master Sombrick. I'm sorry to have had to take you away from the game so suddenly. I have brought you here to inform you that your name has been reported and found to be in violation of our rules and policies, as it can be interpreted to have sexual connotation that we deem inappropriate. And Chad says, "But sir, there are so many things that can be interpreted to have a sexual connotation." GM Sombrick says, "I understand that, which is why I had the name reviewed by a supervisor before bringing you here. Unfortunately, it's been deemed inappropriate and will be flagging it for a change. The use of inappropriate names in Final Fantasy XIV is considered a harassment violation, but because you have no prior penalties, I am willing to issue a warning as opposed to any harsher account actions. I can understand that as it does not target anybody in particular. However, it was reported, and regrettably, we must take action when names are reported and we find them to be in violation. I appreciate your understanding on this matter, Chad." On this matter, Chad. I read that as if it was like a sign-off. GM Sombrick says, "This warning will be official and noted on your account. Please note that any future violations may result in suspension of your account privileges. I will be flagging your name for a change, removing you from jail, and then shortly after you'll be removed from the game. Upon return, you'll be able to change your name. I recommend picking a more appropriate surname to avoid future violations. Before I proceed, is there anything I can address for you at this moment, or at this time?" And Chad Thundercock, being the absolute lad he is, "Yes, could you sing me a song?" GM Sombrick says, "Before I proceed, is there anything I can address you at this moment?" Chad Thundercock says, "In memoriam of Chad Thundercock." And GM Sombrick says, "There was once a man from down under who fought with a chicken of thunder. He fought with a lance and wore shiny pants. I can't say lance pants. We'll do that again. Pants. I have to break my accent to say this. Okay. There was once a man from down under who fought with a chicken of thunder. He fought with a lance who wore shiny pants until sadly his name was Asunder." Chad says, "Thank you." GM Sombrick says, "That was the best I could do on short notice. I hope it will suffice. Thank you for being patient. I will now release you from jail and flag your name for change. Best wishes to you." That was the sad story of Mr. Chad Thundercock. I love this game. It's beautiful. So, last thing I want to talk about is this update to the harassment policy regarding PvP. So, this is regarding non-participation / taunting behavior during PvP. So, this is mainly focused around the new CC stuff, Crystalline Conflict. One of the problems that has been brought up fairly commonly is uncooperative and lethargic behavior. So this is 5-on-5 matches. So if anyone is just not playing the game, basically you're really disadvantaged. It's not as big of a deal in something like Frontline where there's 24 people. When it's 5 on 5, like, anyone not doing their best is a really big thing. So, all PvP content, including Crystalline Conflict, is intended to be a battle/contest of skill between players. Participants must bring their best to the fight, and for this reason, uncooperative or lethargic behavior is prohibited. Let's strive to do our best in situations where defeat is imminent, regardless of whether you're interested in the rewards. This is one thing that I really like about CC. You can turn a match around at the last fucking second. So, the match is 5 minutes long. If the enemies get the crystal to your base, before that 5 minutes, they win. But if no one gets it to the base, you have the ability to push it either to the middle point if the middle point has been cleared, or all the way to their base. So, even if the crystal is literally on your base, like it's at 99.9%, a tiny movement is going to like win the enemy team in the match. If you clear out the enemies, you can flip the match and you can win the match from that point. And I've done so. I've done so on like a couple of occasions. It's such a cool feeling. And I really, really hate the people who just give up because it's like, oh, well, we're getting defeated. We're losing. It's challenging to push back. Fuck you. Just play it properly. And we'll see. We'll push it back. We will win, and if we don't, well, we tried, and that's what's most important. But when that win happens, it's so amazing when it does. It's not like, you know, a lot of other, like in a game like Conquest in Battlefield, for example. If you're losing, you're like, you know, the enemy team's like capped all the flags for the past 5 minutes. Like, there's no way to get back from that unless like everybody on the enemy team like DCs, for example. Like, there's no reasonable way to do that. But CC's not like that. Because it's 5v5, two people can turn the match. If you use your limit breaks properly, you can turn everything around. The other thing is taunting/abusive behavior. So taunting, abusive, or slanderous language on chat is prohibited not only in Crystalline Conflict, but in all PvP content. The following examples of target marker/emote usage and other behaviors are also considered taunting behavior and fall under prohibited activities. Now, CC doesn't actually have a regular chat. In Crystalline Conflict, the only chat you have is through quick chat. So there are like specified messages you can write. There's two reasons for this. One, you get very angry. You will get very angry playing Crystalline Conflict, especially when people aren't doing stuff, like they're not playing the objective, then like we're losing, anything like that. So having a regular chat would be really bad. The other thing is Crystalline Conflict 5-minute matches. You don't really have time to write out a full game plan in your chat every single time, then like readjust it. It's just not going to work. So things that are now prohibited, or I guess have been prohibited and just we didn't really know. Repeatedly using the quick chat phrase, nice job during a disadvantaged situation. So you'll see some people who are like, you know, it'll be the end of the match. And we've lost by like fucking 80%. Like, we pushed the crystal like a little bit and then got stomped in the first minute. And you'll see people spamming, nice job, good match. And it's like, you don't actually mean that. Like, it's one thing if you say it once. But you'll see some people are just being like over and over and over again, or the team will wipe and they'll be like, nice job. And it's not like, it's not actually the same sort of maliciousness you see in like Call of Duty. Like, Final Fantasy XIV's definition of malicious is like someone who the only video game they've ever played is Stardew Valley. And like anything more aggressive than Stardew Valley is like the worst thing that's ever happened. Repeatedly using the quick chat phrase, good match, before the outcome of the match has been decided. I already brought this one up. There's a lot of people who give up very quickly, and you end up losing the match when that happens. Excessively repeating a particular quick chat phrase. Now, I think in certain contexts, this is not that bad, because you'll see some people who are like, because it's these small matches, they'll have this fight off with like some random person, And all they're doing is wasting time. What they should be doing is getting on the crystal and then pushing it and trying to win. You being off doing something random isn't helping anyone, it's just being annoying. So in those cases, spamming quick chat is the only way to get their attention. I can get it for certain cases where... Actually, no, one thing I can definitely... I do find annoying is there is a lot of people who... when they change who they are targeting, they've got a macro set up so it does, like, attacking this person, attacking that person. So your chat is just constantly spam with it, and it's worse when they go and do that, and then move around the markers. So markers are there to basically indicate the order you should be killing players in. Generally, it's White Mage, at least before patch, White Mage, Samurai, Ninja, Summoner, Red Mage. You can debate on Red Mage and Dancer, but that's usually the... Oh, also, sorry, it's White Mage, Scholar, Warrior, Paladin, Samurai, Ninja, Summoner, Dancer, Red Mage, that stuff. The other jobs don't really matter. Like, they're a meme, they don't matter. No one plays them anyways, so it's fine. They're also terrible. But, yeah, you'll have people using that quick chat macro along with moving the markers around, and they're not attacking in any reasonable order, they're just attacking random players, and it just gets in the way. I end up having to, like, redo the markers multiple times throughout the match, because otherwise, if there are not markers, the reason you use markers is because people are dumb. That's why. Because if you don't have markers there, they'll all be doing these, like, one-on-one fights, and nothing ever happens. And then one person from the other team will then double up on someone, then we just get the team wiped. Because then someone dies, and then they can all start grouping together. Persistently placing a negative target marker on another player. I don't know what you even would mean by a negative target marker. Like, there aren't really negative targets. I guess if you place, like, you can place, like, target 1 to attack on an ally or something like that, I guess? Or, like, there's a stop one that you can use, but besides that, I don't know what that even means, a negative marker. Like, if you put a plus over the healer, that's to say that they are the one you should be defending, or you want to put a bind over them to say that's the one that you should be using your tank binds to, or maybe, like, your other sort of binds. But I don't know what that even means by a negative marker. Using repeating a moat on top of a downed opponent. Basically, they don't like people teabagging. But most situations, like, you can't really do that anyway, because you're gonna die. Like, there's going to be another enemy that needs to be fought, and if you do that, well, you just lose. This one's a fun one. Setting off fireworks on top of a downed opponent. Some people are taking the fireworks into PvP and, like, letting them off, which is actually beautiful. Like, I genuinely adore that one. I haven't seen anyone do it, but I want to see it happen. Using tell or other methods to directly harass / criticize a player outside of a duty after a match has ended. This is just general, don't send PMs to people telling them their shit, basically. And finally, slandering other players through means outside of the game, such as social media. Adjusted the text in response to feedback. What did you adjust? This? I don't know what you've adjusted. Usually when you say you've adjusted something, you would actually, like, indicate what you've adjusted. But I'm very curious to see, like, how this is going to actually be addressed. Because I don't think this one's inherently bad. I think there are situations where this is good. The other ones, like, none of this stuff is, like, bad. None of this stuff is, like, you know, being in an MW2 lobby and saying gamer words. Like, it's nothing like that. Like, that's not what this is. It's just being, you know, slightly annoying. It's going up to someone's door, and then rather than knocking on the door once, you just sit there and just keep knocking on it. It's not, like, the worst thing out there. It's just marginally annoying. And obviously this isn't an exhaustive list. there are other things you could do. I presume things like, what else? Maybe intentionally taking the potions on the ground to stop allies from healing. Maybe that would be one. Maybe intentionally getting off of the point, like off the crystal when it's in your base. But a lot of this stuff is very much down to the situation, whether it's actually bad. Like, you could be off the crystal at the base just because you accidentally used you're a red mage, for example, you use your jump back. Or you're a dragoon and you use one of your jump abilities. Like, those are legitimate reasons why you could be off the crystal. Or you could have been, like, knocked back through one of the tank abilities that I'm forgetting. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how this is going to be addressed. Like, people complain about the way that 14 does its moderation. They say it's a bit too strict, but from my experience, like, it's not that bad. It's strict in some games, but generally, if you're not being an intentional asshole, nothing that big of a deal. And that should be the end of the podcast. So that's going to be it for me. I don't know if my gaming streams are back yet. They might be. I am considering bringing them back. If they're not back, they will be back soon. I don't know if my main channel streams will be back. I'm still debating on whether I bring those back or I wait until the new place. I'm not sure. I might bring them back, maybe do a Q&A or something like that, but I will work it out as it goes. Yeah, that's on the Brody Robertson Plays channel. I've got a main channel that is called Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos there. And if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, the video version is available on YouTube and everywhere else like that. Actually, just YouTube right now. It will start being back on Odyssey fairly soon. And then the audio release is wherever you can find audio podcast. You will find it there. So that is going to be it for me. I don't think I have anything else to say. I have to go cook dinner now and then go to work. So, yeah. See you guys later.